Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Thursday Takeover. Well, we're calling it the Thursday Takeover. It's kind of new. We don't really know what we're going to call it, to be honest, but just two lads chatting about football, more or less. Who doesn't need another football podcast in their lives at this rate? But Luke, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. It's been chilling, really. Not too much. A bit of a boring international break, which is, well, I say boring. It's probably been the most exciting, boring international break ever, hasn't it? You know what I mean? I sort of associate all international breaks with being boring because Liverpool are playing football.
Yeah.
Being, from the Liverpool area, we don't really associate ourselves with the English national team too much. Not that I hate them. I don't know. I don't really see the hype. I can't really get myself behind it. Yeah, I suppose it's been pretty exciting for you, hasn't it?
Oh man, I think it was probably the best international break, I would say, in nearly a decade for most Irish fans. It was crazy. Obviously, beating Portugal in itself at any time is good, but actually going on then and beating Hungary in the last minute to go on and win the match was just mental. And get obviously qualified. We got a decent draw today as well, but we'll be talking about that a little bit later on, I suppose. But yeah, I suppose with this, we were thinking about like what way we wanted to do it, but we said what we'll do is just to kind of get people a little bit involved. We'll do one hot take at the start of every stream, and then let's just decide whether we're idiots or it's rational. So I'll let you go first, Luke.
Well, when we go on to discuss our hot take, man, links to yours a little bit, and I do think Liverpool will now go unbeaten, potentially till Arsenal. That'll be the biggest hurdle, Arsenal away, which is, I think, about the 8th of January, something around that time. So I think Liverpool will take the whole Christmas period unbeaten, with the toughest game being Spurs away, which hopefully I think we'll get a result at.
Yeah. So that mine kind of goes along the same lines, but mine is Arsenal. Obviously, they have an injury. They haven't wobbled too much yet, but I think a wobble is to come with Gabriel potentially being out for a couple of months. And mine is Liverpool will be top of the league at Christmas. So make it that much as well. But yeah, I suppose we'll move on to kind of main stories of the week, and we obviously touched on it there with the international break. But did you watch any of the games, or you just watch the highlights?
Nah, just the clips and the highlights, really. I think I watched the second half of the Scotland game because, like, that was everywhere. Even at Twitter at half time, people were like nervous and worried that they weren't going to do it. So I shoved that second half down, but I didn't even watch the Ireland games. To be honest, I weren't even aware of the circumstances until I opened Twitter, and it was just an absolute meltdown of Dublin Airport changing the username to Troy Pallet Airport and all kinds. It was absolutely nuts.
No, it was crazy, and like I was in Seville on Sunday, and I was traveling back, so like I was kind of like getting glimpses of it on my phone. But then obviously when I went, it came through. I had like it on my phone, the notification came through. You know, when like you're watching the stream, so it came through, and I was like leaping in the air. Obviously, I was like, he's gonna score, and then obviously it comes through. Then I was like the only one in the airport going from Seville to Valencia. That they're all like, who's this idiot? But
who's this Irish fella losing his head?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I know as well. England have obviously gone through. What did you make anything of the the groups, the playoffs? What do you think? Or did you even look at it?
Oh, your playoffs, the Irish one.
Yeah.
Well, haven't you got Czech Republic, and then you're at home, aren't you? If you win, is that right?
So
is that wrong?
Czech Republic away, and then if we beat them, we play either Denmark or who are they playing? North Macedonia.
You got a favourable draw, didn't you? I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you'd fancy Denmark against North Macedonia, but I reckon Ireland Denmark could be a really good tie. And if you do get through, you beat Czech Republic and you have the home advantage.
Yeah.
I'd fancy it, to be honest. You know what I mean? That Aviva will be absolutely bouncing for it.
Yeah. The Aviva is good at home. Obviously, the last game we would have played there would have been Portugal as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But anyway, the international break is over now. We're back to actually the good football, I suppose, even though this international break was good. But yeah, obviously Liverpool had a lot of international players performing. I know you were saying there you had some things about like the minutes. Did you see anything of the talk about like good performances that you thought from like some of the Liverpool players?
Yeah, well, I think the one showing up on everyone's radar really is Florian Wirtz, isn't it? Essentially, I think the guy comes away with 2 assists, doesn't need this international break, and a lad who's not really been seemingly firing for Germany again, which also happened in the previous international break. And I think it's interesting because obviously the system Germany plays like actually quite different to the one we're sort of playing, and he's sort of being utilised in two sort of different roles. Sometimes he's through the middle in the 10, sometimes he's drifting out wide on the left, and we've tried that in the Premier League for Liverpool. That hasn't quite worked out. And I do think it's the physicality of the league. I think it's going to take time for him to adjust, and I think we can see that because when he plays in the Champions League, he's like a totally different player because players can't get near him because you're not allowed that sort of leeway. And yeah, I'm hoping he can bring in and just sort of carry this form through, and eventually, I don't really. It's a sense of he needs to toughen up because I'm sure he's got that grit about him. I think it is just like getting used to the balance of the league. It just needs to happen sooner rather than later because we're really going to need them in the short term very, very soon.
Yeah, it's weird. With Verts, it's a little bit like I'm kind of in between at the minute. I'm like, yes, he needs time to adapt, but at the same time, I'm like, we're after paying all this money for him, and you want to see a lot more of him. Like you're obviously talking about like there with Germany, and he's obviously comfortable in that setup. He knows the way he wants to play, but he's obviously coming to Liverpool expecting to be like dead number 10. And kind of now we're seeing that he could be potentially being pushed out to the left as an option because our midfield is more or less like it's a Premier League winning midfield. You know what I mean? Szoboszlai, Dominic, and Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and McAllister. So yeah, what do you think in terms of like? Obviously, we'll maybe talk about we talked a little bit about the fixtures coming up. Do you expect in like these kind of next 10 games or so, or leading up to kind of the Arsenal game? Like he has to maybe take it up a level.
I think he does. I think the manager's probably got to find a way to integrate him as well. That left wing, he does look good out there, but then you're overlooking Cody Gakpo, who I do think has been a bit of a scapegoat so far this season by supporters. Yes, he might not be the most exciting electric player at times. Sometimes he can be very readable, but he seems to always come up with a goal and an assist, and he's done that again on international duty. He's come away with a goal and assist from his time away with the Netherlands. It's really difficult. I think the only way Florian Wirtz can play in this current Liverpool team is out on the left-hand side. Because when we do transition to play with him as a sole 10 with very limited defensive responsibilities, we just get overrun. And, we lose the midfield battle. We get done on the break. It's just not happening for us. I think he does need to be out there on the left wing. But then, like I said, you're looking at Cody Gakpo's minutes. In the short term, would Cody Gakpo been a better selection at the Etihad? I'm in the camp of I think Florian Wirtz did all right at the Etihad. I think he did show glimpses of playing very well against Manchester City. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but a lot of people are in that side of, Cody Gakpo should have started that Man City game. A bit more experience, a bit more grit, sort of a little bit more physical in terms of a player. So, yeah, it's my opinion, it's a real 50-50. It's a head-tails call by the manager. It's going to be interesting to see which one he goes with. But now's the time to stick or twist. I think you've got a long run of games now without any international break. You've got to put someone into the side and you go, right, you're my starter and you need to show me why over these next 5-6 games. And if not, we're going to be swapping you over. One of them needs to play consistently in the role for at least a couple of weeks.
I feel like we said that though. I was thinking that at the start. Remember when, I think it was the Arsenal game. After the Arsenal game, we were saying like, you have to stick or twist them. And then he just didn't continue to perform. So that's why I'm like worried now. I'm like, I think that kind of might have knocked his confidence a little bit. So, like personally, I think, and people always say to me that I talk about Gakpo. I think Gakpo was one of, if not the best left winger in the Premier League. I think he's shown that last season when Diaz, who was playing unbelievably well, was moved into the centre forward. Now, obviously, we didn't have a centre forward at that time either, and Núñez was a bit hit and miss. Jota was obviously injured and stuff as well. But like, you kind of want Wirtz in the team, but I think having Gakpo, after the Real Madrid game as well, it was almost impossible to drop Wirtz because he had such a good game. But then you're going into a big game against Man City. It's obviously a different type of game away from the Etihad. You're going to have to dig in a little bit. I thought Gakpo probably would have been a better choice. But as I said, it was almost impossible to leave him out. Well, I suppose that's one of the decisions. He has a lot of decisions that, like, in a lot of different positions that he has to kind of make his mind up on. Like, you think about like Gyökeres and Robertson, Salah, like he's obviously going to AFCON soon. Isak, Ekitike. Like, there's a lot of change in the Liverpool team that I think we didn't I think we did plan for, but we didn't expect it to be this difficult to get them all integrated. And I think that's the thing that Slot is finding. Like, one thing I keep going back to as well, I think Trent going, like, I know obviously his defending was really poor, but we look worse on the right side now defending without him in the team because we just miss the attacking intent and like how quick we were back to front. But we're not like as solid defensively because obviously Bradley and Frimpong aren't unbelievable defenders. It's not like you're signing a Kyle Walker or someone to go in and just like make you unbelievably steady, or Yuri and Timber, for example. So it's like we've kind of lost the creativity of Trent and the progressiveness of Trent, but we haven't actually gained that much more stability since he's gone.
One thing I would say to back your point there about the defensive stability is when we had Trent, he's a dual threat, you know, and the winger marking him then also has a defensive responsibility to get back and mark him. And then when you're taking Trent out the team and Conor Bradley, yeah, he's quick, but he's not quite Trent on the football. He's not going to put that ball in. Suddenly you take away that winger's defensive responsibility and say, you can sit high, you can stay on him. You know what I mean? You can play him behind on the final man. But when Trent was travelling with the ball and dribbling off the pitch, he'd be being followed and tracked by the winger. So, yeah, we are leaving ourselves overloaded, and that's it. Like, in that sort of way, I do think we are missing them going forward, and it's hard to admit it really after the exit yard and the way you feel about it. But we are missing him as a creative outlet.
Oh, you were cheering him against Real Madrid when he came on, no?
We should probably talk about the in terms of. I don't know our best 11, and I don't think Arnie Slot knows our best 11 either. And if we come back to the fixtures, because we're going to talk about the fixtures now at some point in the show, I think this is a good time to tie it in. The operating for the fixtures is Liverpool have the easiest next 8 games according to the Opta supercomputer or whatever it is. And I think now's the time, like I said, where you've got to stick or twist. You've got to find your best 11 in this time period that's going to carry us to the end of the season if you want to be anywhere near the top of the table at Christmas. And Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, they're all games where you can probably try and test things. And I think he's going to have to. You know, I still don't even know if Alexander Isak is going to start in any of these 8 games the way Hugo Ekitike is playing it. And that's like such a crazy shout. But it is the honest truth.
The interesting thing, though, as well, is AFCON's coming up, so Salah's obviously going to be taken out of that. And I think he might go to something like he did against Frankfurt, where he plays the two of them up front. Because I think, listen, Frankfurt were terrible, but we looked a lot better. And I think you need to have almost McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai in midfield just because we need that stability. And we need legs to be able to, like, obviously not get caught out as much. But I think Isak's a weird one because Ekitike obviously has been really good and you should play him. And I said he has to start a few weeks ago because of the levels that he was playing at. But I think with Isak, if he gets a run of games and he like gets firing, like even when he was at Newcastle, he'd come back from an injury, take a little bit of time to get up and going. But once he got going, he was like nearly impossible to stop. And I think that's the issue. And well, one of the main issues that Slot is going to have as well, along with the Vert issue, along with all the other ones. But he's going to have to figure out how he gets Isak in the team, because I think if he does get up and running, he does start scoring, then I think that's going to help Liverpool a lot. Because obviously at the end of the day, like, we need to be scoring more. That's the one thing when I was saying at the start of the season about why I thought Liverpool were going to win the league. I was just like, even before we got Isak, the way we play, we score, or we create so many opportunities and we score so many goals. So like to beat us, you have to score 2 or 3 goals. The issue is now is teams are scoring 2 or 3 against us, and we're probably only scoring like 1 goal a game since in the last kind of 5 or 6 games. So that's an issue as well. But I think if you have a fit Isak and a fit Ekitike, I would be trying to get him into the team. And I think taking Salah out is difficult for any manager. But the fact that he's going to be gone for, say, 5 or 6 games, it allows him maybe to experiment with that as well, and having like not as difficult fixtures as he maybe had in the past few games. So that means he can maybe test and see what kind of clicks a little bit more. But yeah, I think, as you said, they'll be undefeated. That's your ball prediction. They'll be undefeated up until the Arsenal game. Yeah. And I think that has to be that has to go that way, because anything other than that against like the level of opposition is not good enough, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we'll fall short. I think it's interesting we talk about Isak and Ekitike both playing up front together. Yeah. Because of Galatasaray, I don't think that quite worked, but it's another option. And suddenly you can start moving things around. You know what I mean? And you've got a lot of players who can play dual positions in this side. So yeah, I think it's interesting, and also it can be fluid. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a 4-4-2 all the time. It can be a 4-2-4. You can sort of look at what Marco Rose used to do at RB Leipzig and sort of play a 4-2-2. It can be quite fluid, and we've got the players who can integrate and float around that system and make it work.
Do you think Slot is like reluctant to change formation a little bit? Because he's like obviously seeing success with the 4-3-3, and like even now, like, I think if you bring in, say, we'll maybe come on to like some of the transfer talking a bit, but if you were to maybe get in a centre back and go to 3 at the back, and then you had cover for, say, Van Dijk and Kanate, who probably need a little bit more at the minute, and then you have 3-4-3. Do you know what I mean? So you can kind of fit all these types of players in, or like you could maybe go to a diamond where like you're 4-1, 2-1-2. Like, do you think Slot is reluctant to change, or do you think we could see something like that in the future?
I think he's more reluctant to change. I think we've seen that free back attempt against Crystal Palace, and I think it was just we just didn't want to have any of the ball. You know, and we showed no ambition to have the ball in that Carabao Cup game. And I just don't think it'll work. I think the problem he's had so far this season is he's got all these superstars and he's trying to get them all playing at the same time, like we're trying to do now. You know, where can Verts go? Where can Szoboszlai going to go if we go 4-4-2? And I think some of them, he's just going to have to bite the bullet, and some of them aren't going to start, and they're not going to like it, but that's just going to have to be how it is, because the system needs to come first. I do think he'll experiment with the 4-4-2 at some point over these 8 games. However, I do reckon he'll stay with the 6 and sort of the 2-8, because he's tried to change to the 10. It evidently hasn't worked. He's come back to the 2-8. We've got 2 great results. Yes, we didn't win at Man City, but like, you don't win at Man City away at the best of times. You know, you can be absolutely firing and go to Man City away and then not get a result. That sort of thing just happens. So yeah, I can see. I don't think he's reluctant to change, but I don't reckon he doesn't need to revitalize the whole system and go to 3 at the back and play with wing backs and all the rest of it. I think it just needs a few tweaks here and there. I do think if we play a 4-4-2, it'll be really fluid and almost be like a 4-2-4 essentially, with 2 sorts of DMs rather than box to boxes. So yeah.
Hopefully, anyway, we can see a little bit more from them, because I think the formations and stuff, and there's been issues with that, but I just think individual performances this season have just been like, there's been a drop off in so many of them. Like, you think about McAllister, like, hasn't been able to stay fit. Kanate's obviously fallen off a cliff. Kirk has been really poor since he's come in. I think like Salah as well. Like, you can probably go through the whole team and say like, you haven't been good enough to maybe 50% of the team. I think that's what I'd want to see more. Just like individual performances have to be better. And if like the quality of players that are there, then you'll start to see the performances pick up as well. So hopefully that starts this week against Forest. I suppose then, like with the performances, what do you think of the kind of title race at the minute? Like, do they still have a chance? I know we obviously gave our hot takes at the start, but what's your thoughts on it?
I listen. There's no point in paying much attention to the table until Boxing Day. I think that's like sort of the general rule that everyone goes by. The 27th this year, because unfortunately there's one game on Boxing Day. Just TV's taking all the money, ruining football, if you ask me. But yeah, they've ruined my Boxing Day, so I'll be going on the 27th. Yeah, I usually try not to pay too much attention to that. There was a period in time, maybe like sort of mid 2000s, like 2014, 2015. Where Arsenal would always like start the season on absolute fire, and then as soon as they would get to Christmas, they'd just fall apart. You know, and I always remember. I remember at one point, I'm pretty sure they were like 8 clear, and Aaron Ramsey was having a storm of a season in like September, November, in between that time period, and then by Christmas time, they're absolutely crap. So it's one of them. I think we'll be in a much healthier position come the 27th of December. Will we still be in the title race? That's yet to see. Obviously, Gabriel and Gyökeres are both out, aren't they? I don't know too much about Gyökeres. I know Gabriel looks like he's going to be out for a good couple of weeks. It's a really important time in the season for that to happen. You know, it's going to be the busiest part of the year. It'll be interesting to see when he comes back. How are Arsenal going to cope without him? Because he's not only brilliant at the back, he's also a goal threat. When they win in games 1-2-0 and they're scoring corners and headers and all the rest of it, he's one of the lads getting on the end of them. It'd be interesting to see how they sort of go about not having him there, because I think it was harder for them to replace injuries last season. They've sort of seen to that. They brought in Hincapi. They brought in Mosquera.
Yeah,
They've got
he
more
looks decent.
options at the back. Yeah, Ben White can also play there as well, but I think Arteta will probably overlook him. So I'll be interested to see how they cope without him, especially because they've got quite a few tough games coming up. If we go back to the Opta stuff we were talking about earlier, Arsenal are on an Opta rating of the next 8 of 91.4, which leaves them in I think it's the 7th hardest, 7th or 8th. Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. And compared to Liverpool, we apparently have the easiest fixture on. This is where you're hoping we can claw some ground back. You look at the games, North London derby at the weekend, which we'll get on to speak about later. I don't have too much hope. But then Chelsea away, really hard place to go. Villa away, really hard place to go. Everton away, which is going to be on a Monday night at 8 o'clock. That's also going to be a really hard place to go. You'd hope we'd be able to get some ground back. So I don't want to say we're out of it already, but we are in a difficult position.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion. I think obviously everyone always just kind of twists and turns on their opinion of like who's going to win the title race, depending on who's first. Like, I think there's so much up and downs across an entire season. Like, even if you look at the start of the season, Liverpool obviously won 5 of the first. They won all their first 5 games, and then everyone's like, Liverpool are going to win it. It's going to be easy, and then they obviously struggle a little bit. And like straight away, like Liverpool are gone, Liverpool are dust, and then Arsenal pick up a little bit, and it's Arsenal are for the league. That's 100%. That's who's going to win the league. But now you see even them drop points against Sunderland. Man City win. It's 4 points. I just think like there's no point in jumping on the bandwagon. And I think you can obviously give Arsenal credit because they defensively they look very solid. But I was on a stream last week and I was saying like they haven't had their rough patch yet. Do you know what I mean? They haven't had that kind of really difficult period, which they will go through. It's inevitable. We become so accustomed to like title races between like say Liverpool and Man City, where like you're going into the last 15 games and they win like all 15, or they drop 1 point and that's like a draw against one another. Do you know what I mean? So I think
it's like,
from that
a trauma response, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight away you think about that. As soon as you drop 3 points, I think about them years where we were getting like 98 something points, losing 1 game all year, and we weren't winning the league. The league's not like that anymore. It's not.
No.
The whole league has raised the standard. Like it says a lot that like your like Forest, you know what I mean? For example, and Crystal Palace are in the Europa League, and a couple of years ago they would have been considered bottom feeders in the Premier League. Yeah. In the Europa League now, the pair of them like look all right. A couple of years ago you'd be thinking Forest playing Real better, so you're having a joke, mate. But now like Forest are up there. It's like probably one of the odds-on favourites, probably within the top sort of 6-7 teams in that Europa League, thinking we could go on and win this. So that says a lot.
Yeah, no, literally. And I think, like, if you go through those teams there, like Newcastle haven't had the best start this year. Forest haven't done particularly well, but they're looking a bit better under Sean Dyche. Then you're probably going up to, like, say, Brighton, who beat Man City earlier on in the season. Aston Villa starting to come around after a slow start. Then you're kind of looking at, say, Man United and Spurs, who had a terrible season last year, but that was not going to be the same this year. Do you know what I mean? They're always going to click and find form. And then, you obviously have the teams that are going to be consistently performing. So I think my thing with Liverpool is I think Arsenal are going to drop points, but it's just like, I think when there's a gap like that, I think Liverpool almost has to be perfect until the end of the season. You kind of have to go on a run like they did last year. Like they lost to Forest 1-0, and then they didn't lose another game until April, which was against Fulham. Like 27 games unbeaten. Do you know what I mean? So you're just constantly picking up points, constantly picking up wins and draws, and that kind of just like gets you over the line. And then by the time it comes around to April, it's like, oh, we have all these points, and no one else was able to keep with us. But I don't know if this team has that right now, which is the issue.
Yeah, I think they do. I think we went through like a really rough. Obviously, we're talking about Liverpool's on paper form at the minute with 1 win in the last 5, and we've lost the other 4. That is the on paper form. That's the facts.
Yeah.
What people are forgetting there is like, essentially, we went on a very long streak without playing a game at home. Like we didn't. Joe, when you need that game at home to sort of get you out the rut, we didn't have it for a while. We lost to Palace, we lost to Galatasaray, we lost to Chelsea, and then we get Man United at home, and that should have been the game that got us out the rut. We've gone away. We've played 3 away games. We've been absolutely woeful. right, we've got United now, let's get us out the door. And the United had come, they did a job on us, mate. And they did, you know what I mean? They turned up, they had a game plan, they did a job on us.
That United game, though, man, like that, I'm telling you now, on another day, that could have easily went our way. I think United, like if Liverpool had won, you would have been saying, oh, well, like they had a lot of chances. They probably deserved the win. But I think United deserved the win as well. It was just one of those games where I think with the run Liverpool were in at the time, like if we had to play United at the start of the season in that kind of 5-game win streak, we probably would have beat them because we had a little bit of luck on our side. We obviously just started to turn, and you're not going to be able to rely on luck throughout an entire season, every single game. Like we were getting out of jail against like had Bournemouth, we had Atletico Madrid. There was another game we scored late in as well. I can't remember, but yeah, we're just consistently scoring late goals, and like you just can't rely on that all the time. So yeah, it's still, I still think there's a chance, but it's going to be difficult from this point on. And I think the next, as you said, leading up to kind of Stephen's Day or Boxing Day, as you say, it's going to be up in the air. And I think we'll see a lot about Arsenal now. If Gabriel is out for 2 weeks, if Gyökeres is out for say 2 or 3 weeks, we'll see a lot about their makeup, which will be interesting because they've never been. I don't think Liverpool and Man City have been this maybe like vulnerable, and Arsenal have been as strong in this position, but obviously they have to capitalize on that now, and they haven't been able to do that before. So it's a very new position for all those players. So will they be able to do it is the question.
I think Arsenal are in a really tough spot where, like what we found ourselves in, when you've got a horrible sort of midweek game, sort of sandwiched in between two quite big Premier League ties, because they go North London derby, don't we? Which we'll come on to speak about. But then they go Bayern at home midweek, and then they go Chelsea away at the weekend. That's a really, really tough spell. That's a tough string of 3 games where you wouldn't expect them to take all 9 points.
Yeah.
So you'd be hoping somewhere in them 3 there's going to be at least a draw or a loss. But like you said, we've got to be perfect to catch up to them.
Yeah, North Red TAL says we've literally no more room for maneuver in this league. We must consistently win, or we will be fighting for top 4. Yeah, actually, one of the comments that actually, thank you for the comment, brother. I appreciate it. And then you said, how we come through the internationals? Any injuries? I don't think there was any injuries from what I'm aware.
No.
Just some difficult egos being hit with Szoboszlai and Gyökeres, I think. Other than that, they'll be all right. Yeah, it's like they keep losing at Liverpool. They got to Hungary and it's like, all we have to do is not lose. And they lose that as well.
I think it's really like mad that we come away with no injuries, because we seem to always come away with injuries from the internationals. Just a touch on something we didn't go on earlier. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Liverpool players played over 90 minutes. During this current international period, which is mad. So you've got Van Dijk 180, Szoboszlai 180, Robbo 180, Mamardashvili 180. However, Alisson Becker might be playing at the weekend. We don't know. That would be a massive comeback. Gyökeres 176, Gakpo 169, Wirtz 167, Bradley 135, Ekitike 113, and Mo Salah bang on 90, as well as Kanate and Endo. So they just all played one game.
Yeah,
that's huge, and that's a lot of minutes in the legs of Liverpool players coming back to Nottingham Forest the weekend, if you ask me. And I can't believe no one's got an knock, because it seems like whenever we go away in international break, someone comes back with some sort of knock. To have that many players pretty much play a game and a half in the space of 8-9 days is what the international break is, and not get any injuries is actually really good, really fortunate.
It's like extra games. You know what I mean? Like like we obviously talk about like. You think realistically, because they're not playing for Liverpool, they're getting a break. But like they're like some of them teams that maybe go out, and maybe the intensity isn't as big as it is in the Premier League. They're not getting like long balls chucked at them every 5 minutes. But like I'd say that like Szoboszlai and Gyökeres would have went through a good bit, obviously, to try and qualify. Like they only beat Armenia, I think 1-0, and then obviously the Irish game, I'd say, would have taken a lot out of them. So they're like 2 tough games. But the main thing is they're obviously coming back injury free, and I think this is probably if Alisson comes back now, we probably have a full strength squad other than Frimpong. Would it be?
Just
which is good.
Just because Alisson and Isak will be back. Joe Gomez news. Joe Gomez is fine, isn't he? No.
Yeah.
We're all right. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. He only gets injured when he actually plays. It's like, and then he's like, oh no, I'm not available now. It's like, or when you need him, it's like Kanate will go down, and then like straight away Joe Gomez go down a hamstring injury or something.
He's unfortunate, man.
No, he is. But yeah, I suppose we'll go on then to. I'm just trying to think now. the kind of obviously dependent. We were talking about the build up to January and hopefully the position that we could be in depends obviously on other results. But a lot of transfer talk kind of the last couple of weeks. Mark Guehi, Semenyo, 65 million buyout clause for Semenyo. What do you think of that? Like, well, I'm a bit torn on it to be honest, but I'll let you go first. Let you say your thoughts.
I feel like Liverpool will be coming into the realm of sort of where City and Arsenal were a few years ago, where it's like, let's start buying players so other teams can't have them. Like,
yeah.
Semenyo's boss, mate. He's absolutely boss. He played great at Anfield. 65 million. It's a really good deal in my opinion. However, let's go buy another attacker when we already can't fit the attackers we've got into the team.
Yeah.
Let's go and buy another one. Where does he play? Where does he go? Where do the minutes go? Is that like confirmation that Cody Gakpo is going to be off on his bike in the summer? Like, I just don't understand where he's going to play. It's proper Man City, Arsenal. Like, this is what they were at with Declan Rice. Oh, we'll have him. And essentially, Man City weren't overly bothered about getting Declan Rice. They just didn't want Arsenal to have them by the looks of it. And they got him in the end, obviously. It seems like we're sort of in that realm. Don't get me wrong, if he found for Liverpool, I'd be made up to Adam. I just think you're then giving yourself massive selection issues. And in my opinion, you then got to sell somebody because you can't play all of them. And you've got to manage these egos somehow.
I suppose one of the things that I've seen we'll talk about maybe Guehi now in a second, but with the Semenyo one, I've seen some people saying that he could play on the right, but he's predominantly played on the left. I was looking at his heat map. I think it's like 65-35, where he's like predominantly on the left. And yeah, like if you're potentially going to have Vert out on the left-hand side and then obviously Gakpo, we talked about like what that situation is going to be. Like, I think you have to start Gakpo because I think he can be a little bit disappointing and at times, but I think he always is a goal threat. I think that's something that we definitely need in the team. That's what even when you think about City, like we didn't have our first shot until the 75th minute. And I think if Gakpo's on, he does have that threat where we can, like he might nab you a goal. He scores a lot of important goals as well. So I think you have to keep him in the team. But with Semenyo, it's like, you know, the one thing I think they're missing right now, they're missing like real pace, like real raw pace in behind. Like I think Isak and Ekatike are quick. Salah is quick. Gakpo is like he's good maybe over like short distances, but someone that is just like would frighten a defender. I think we're missing that, and just like the runs in behind. Like I think everyone, especially when Ekatike plays, they all want to come to feet. Salah, maybe back in his days when you're talking about like Salah and Mane, they were happy to like make those runs in behind, and then Firmino would drop deep. But Salah's at an age now where he doesn't want to be making them runs consistently. One, because he wants to retain his energy for when he gets chances, and two, he doesn't have it in him as much anymore. Do you know what I mean? He's good. He's kind of changed a little bit into a playmaker, which you've seen last season. So that's why I'm kind of torn between like Semenyo. Is like, would he bring something to the team that's different, rather than maybe something that we definitely have? But like that, as you said, you're basically adding more problems to what we have right now, which is like what we probably shouldn't do. Do you know what I mean?
I think if you bring Semenyo in, you're probably looking right there at the long-term Mohamed Salah replacement, maybe out on the right. But are you bringing him for 65 million when Salah got a year and a half left on his deal? Are you then confirming that you're going to start phasing Mo Salah out the team? Maybe on the January, maybe in the summer after. You know what I mean? It's really difficult, but eventually someone's going to have to make that decision. I'm just not sure if it should happen in January, halfway through the season, and then you've got something else to worry about and someone else to worry about giving minutes to.
Yeah. Do you think they obviously gave Salah the 2-year contract?
Yeah.
Do you think they obviously did that in mind with potentially like selling him next year to Saudi? Because obviously you could get like maybe 50 or 60 million for what, 34-year-old then?
It's not a bad shout, not at all. I think they gave him the 2-year deal because essentially they thought he was forcing the hand, wasn't he? He weren't going to sign a 1-year deal. So I think that's probably the only reason why they gave him the 2. Otherwise, I think they would have been quite happy with the 1. But it's definitely something would develop in the mind. I think that they can ship him off to Saudi in the summer if, you know, his return's not quite what it is, which it hasn't been so far. So, I think it's pretty telling that they didn't offer him the contract for a very long time. I think they were concerned that his legs were sort of going to fall away, as we've seen with other players at Liverpool in the past, the likes of Fabinho, the likes of Jordan Henderson. They are reluctant to give out the new deals, aren't they? And they probably sort of basically just said that I'm forced on this one because he was so good. Like, how could you not re-sign him? Like, it would have been an absolutely ridiculous decision.
But that they were caught in two minds. They are basically a rock and a hard place because they keep him and he'd say, ridiculous money. Give him a 2-year contract and he performs. Like, listen, he's still going to get you goals. Like you seen, like the goal against Brentford, he can come up with a moment of genius. But if he's not at this moment in time at the level that he's playing at, if he's not scoring a goal or getting an assist, and I think you probably even said this like a bit last season as well, he's not doing anything in the game. And even when I think of, especially the fact that we've sold Diaz, we don't have anyone in the team that is like a really aggressive presser. We kind of we're reliant, like you can see it now the way we're playing Szoboszlai. Like we're asking him to be like almost the initial press, and everyone kind of follows up behind. And if no one does, we're then caught out with a passing behind, and then we're obviously exposed a lot more. Like Salah's he's just. I don't think it's not like from a lack of trying, but it's like the same thing that maybe if you hear the conversation that he had with Slot when he first came in, he's like, I don't want you doing any of the like defensive work. I just want you to stay up there. When the chance comes, you'll take it. And that's what he did last season and fires Liverpool to a league. But this season, he's not at the races, and I think Liverpool aren't feeding him as much. And I think that's probably because we're like Nunes, Diaz, like they were, for as bad as Nunes was, he was a very aggressive runner. Do you know what I mean? He'd hunt players down, defenders down. And we just don't have that same energy in our forward line this year. So it's like kind of that big change.
I think I have that conversation as well amongst like sort of my mates and stuff, and said sort of like we do miss Nunes quite a bit, and it's not as like
it's crazy to say that as well. It's about the jip that he gets.
Yeah, we all know he'd snatch the chance and put it wide, but it's the off the ball work. The guy was absolutely rapid, and he would run after anyone. He was like a rabid dog. You know what I mean? So. I do hear the shout we are missing someone like that, but is that really Semenyo? I'm not too sure.
Would you wait? And like obviously Elise is potentially someone that they're talking about. Like I think he's more like a dream target. But like they obviously got Wirtz from Leverkusen. I think Elise, if he was open to a move, I think Bayern are looking a lot stronger this year than they were last year. And I think that might change his mind in terms of staying with them. But yeah, he would be someone that I think to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it's the same sort of argument though. I think Elise is brilliant on the ball. He's probably technically one of the best players, but I don't think he's got that yard of pace.
Yeah,
like
true.
Semenyo has. I reckon he's probably a little bit slower than Semenyo. I don't even know if I'm fully convinced that Semenyo is that electric type of player. Yeah, he caught us on the break a few times, but I feel like Gakpo, Semenyo, and Elise are all actually really similar options.
Would you I'll go for anyone else in mind? Like 65 million for Semenyo. Is there anyone you had in mind thinking about it?
No, I don't know. Really, no. I'm not the LFC transfer committee. They know more than me. Like,
I'll get Michael Edwards on here now.
my issue was when Luis Diaz come in, and when we bought Luis Diaz, the fella looked absolutely electric. I was there for his debut. I was there for the semi. I was there for the Carabao final. As soon as the fella picked the ball up, you were like on the edge of your seat. He was so quick. So quick. I haven't seen a player like him since like Mane, essentially, when Mane was out on the left, sort of 17, 18, 18, 19, 19.
The goal against Arsenal when he introduced himself.
And the fellas, like, no one could get near him. He was so fast. That's what Luis Diaz was like when we bought him. And I don't know whether it was the system or he got tired or what it was, but his legs just seemed to fade away and he didn't have that fire in him anymore. And obviously we know he wanted to move. And then he goes to Bayern and he's just becomes this revelation of a player again. So I don't know whether he was only playing at 80% or something because he couldn't be.
Did you see his goal the other week?
Oh,
ridiculous.
But my problem is you see everybody on Twitter like, why have we sold him? Why have we sold him?
Yeah, I
the
know.
Lad wanted to go. He wanted to leave. Like, you can't force someone to stay. He wants to go.
I was seeing it. Obviously, when it comes to wages, you never know like what players are really on. But I seen something he was on like 15 grand or something. Or no, sorry, 55 grand a week.
Yeah,
and he won.
Phillips was on more than him.
Yeah, and like Gakpo, Nunes, Jota, they were all on like 130 to 160. So he was like, I want to go up to about like 160. I feel I can contribute a lot more. And Liverpool were like, nah, like you're 28. We're not giving you that much. The lads obviously come in and taking their contract. Remember, he came from Porto. Obviously, Spurs were in from as well.
I reckon we would have given the money if we didn't have to re-sign Salah and Van Dijk at such a high fee.
True, actually. That's a good point.
And gave him the money. but it was just because the pair of them wanted such massive contracts that like your hands forced, isn't it, essentially? But then it's also the fact of like, well, we got a really good deal for them. We spun a massive profit on, and that looks great on the books. But we went out and spent it all on Florian Wirtz. So it's not everything seems to make sense in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually felt uncomfortable in the transfer, like the summer transfer window, because I was like, I don't like all the change that's going on. Because I was a big Diaz and Gakpo fan. Nunez I could understand because I think they'd given him 3 years and he just wasn't doing it. Diaz, I was like, Diaz was one of like the best players in our team last year, and I understand it's big money for someone of that age, and like I feel like we went financial first over football, if that makes sense, because obviously we wanted to maybe transfer the team. But I personally think the biggest change to this team is Trent, and we talked about it a little bit at the start, but I think he's been the biggest kind of differential, because I don't think we actually have a player like Van Dijk will obviously progress the ball. I think since Robertson's come in a little bit, we've seen us like move to progressing the ball a little bit better. But Kirkes is someone that's going to bomb on. Bradley is someone that's going to like bomb on. They're not players that are going to like pass the ball out. We've seen it against Man City. Haaland just sat on Van Dijk because they knew that side, it was the best chance that they had of getting out of defence. And then they just let Kanate have it. And he just, that's not his strong suit. Do you know what I mean? He's better in those kind of 1v1 positions. Maybe not so much this season, but he's like, when he's asked to move the ball forward and get it into our midfield and our dangerous players, like he can't do that. And not having Trent there is like his out ball almost when it's on that side. Like he was sitting beside Trent being the most like creative fullback probably we've seen since maybe like Dani Alves. And even Dani Alves wasn't that type of player. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of output and how we actually helped Liverpool, it was just such a big difference. And I think if we had kept Trent this year, if he had stayed and we brought in all these players, but we didn't sign Frimpong, for example, I think we would be seeing a lot more out of them right now, because I think we would still be able to get the ball to them. Our transition would be a lot better. I think that's the big issue I think we're seeing in the team at the minute.
I sided with you on that, to be honest. I think what we did is we seen an opportunity to sort of, we've got all this money on the books. We've got a lot to spend. We're in the positive by quite a bit. Let's spend it. You know what I mean? Let's try and sort it out. Do you want to read the comments?
Yeah. Cheers, North Red. It pains me to be talking about potential January signings after that summer spend. If it had kind of worked, we should have been talking about bringing in luxury players to complement the team. Yeah, that's exactly it.
He's right. That's exactly the same point that I'd be making as well. We seen an opportunity in the window, and we just thought, you know what, let's do the overhaul all in one go, which in a couple of years' time might turn out to be the right decision. But it sort of leaves me with like loads of trauma, because it seems like Liverpool always do this. They always do it. Like ever since I was a kid, they've always, if something's not going right or something's starting to tail off, we'll just sell everyone and buy a load of new lads. And it's always the way to do it. It's never 1 or 2 incrementals. Like Torres leaving, for example, and then we go out and we buy Suarez, Andy Carroll, in the same summer, Jovanovic, Paul Konchesky, and then we decide about 6 more lads, and then we're trying to get them all in the team. You know, like Raul Morelos, Charlie Adam. They all joined the club in a period.
Raul Morelos was a baller in his time.
But we signed all of them in like a 6 to 12 month period. We signed about 12 players, and it was just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And we did it again when we sold Suarez. We brought in about 9 new lads. And it's never like 1 or 2 incremental changes. It's always let's just press the self-destruct button and just go for it.
But I think it's different with those ones, because we were obviously almost forced into it. Like with Torres, especially with Suarez, we sold him and then we were like, right, we need to bring in players that can replace his level.
Sell Suarez and then go buy Lallana, Klein, Balotelli, Ricky Lambert. You don't need to go and buy all. Just go, Benteke. Just go and just buy one. We've sold a striker. Let's buy 1 new striker, and then he's getting a bit old. We'll replace him as well. You don't need to buy. It's just
because we were shit. So like we just need to bring in as many players as possible, because we knew some of them were going to work out. But no, I think, do you know, when I always give credit to Liverpool's transfer policy and how they go out and identify players to bring in. I feel like they've gotten it wrong this transfer window. Or listen, we don't know what they're talking about like behind closed doors. So they might be like, right, we're going to change our approach. And I seen Carragher talking about it, and we're going to maybe come into his comments a bit now in a second. But he was talking about the fact that like Liverpool have changed so much in such a quick period of time? And is it a case of that Arne Slot has wanted them players and he wanted to bring them in, and he's such a big admirer of Pep Guardiola and he wants to play that kind of attacking football and like really silky on the eye? Because you think about last season, we were beating teams with like maybe by like one goal, maybe some games we scored like 3 or 4, but it wasn't consistent. And is that something that Slot wanted to change? But we've just gotten it completely wrong with like the players that we brought in, because they're so different to the system that we would just like. You very rarely see a team completely disband a Premier League winning team and bring in like a whole new team, because then it's more or less a gamble in terms of is it going to work? And I think that's what we're seeing right now. It's obviously a gamble that's not paying off, but maybe that's something that they're planning long term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it is the long term plan, and it was just like I said, it was just the opportunity in the market to sort of go like, right, like I said, we got money on the books. We'll take a few out, bring a few in, and we'll do it all in one go because it just makes financial sense. That's all it is. And when you think about the players we've bought, Liverpool never ever buy players like this. Never. We never go out and buy the best striker in the world. We never go out and buy the best young talents midfielder in the world. It's very, very rare we do that sort of stuff. And that is like you're saying, where the transfer policy has changed. So I don't know. I think time's going to tell. And essentially, we've invested in a good couple of young lads who are all looking absolutely brilliant, and they've sort of come in and just not gelled.
Yeah.
So I would agree, but like it's just difficult. It just needs time.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, we're just very impatient as fans, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. I'll let you say. You've seen Carragher's comments. I suppose we're talking about like all the players we brought in, and we probably should have brought in one more, but we didn't. In Guehi, what Carragher was talking about today. If you want to say it.
So what I was going to say today is I was going to try and sort of set the stall out. So Carragher set his stall out the other day and sort of said Liverpool need to spend in January. They need to buy a centre-back. They should have bought a centre-back in the summer. They're probably one injury away at centre-back from really derailing the season. Bearing in mind, Liverpool are 18 goals scored, 17 goals conceded in the Premier League. If you could only have in January Anton Semenyo or Mark Guehi, who would it be? So you can only have one of them. Who you taking?
Yeah, I think you have to go Guehi. No, like you're probably going to get him for less than the 35 million that was obviously not agreed on in in the summer. And like Leone's obviously out. If Kanate or Van Dijk pick up an injury, we're dead in the water. Do you know what I mean? So I think Guehi has to be someone that you would go for. Semenyo is like a nice to have right now. Do you know what I mean? Even though it is 65 million is a good deal maybe for him, but I think Guehi has to be the one you go for.
I think I'm with Carragher as well. I think I'm nailed on Guehi. I just think, like you're saying, it makes more sense just to bring it in and that stability at the back, especially when you got the question marks around Ibu Kanate. I've seen a few shouts this week saying if Kanate goes, going to replace him with Upamecano, and I was just like,
no way.
What are you for real? Like, you know what I mean? Like Upamecano, he's a decent level centre back, but he's just a real carbon replacement of Ibu Kanate. Like, he's not exactly setting the world alight at Bayern Munich. He's just steadily getting along. If you look at his sort of data and stats, I think Mark Guehi is a better opportunity in the market. If we're going to lose Ibu Kanate for free and we can pick up Mark Guehi for relatively cheap for what he would be worth if he was sat on a 5-year deal at Crystal Palace, I think we'd be paying almost double.
Yeah, but like Prem proven is only after turning 26. Like has room to kind of grow and learn. Yeah, I think it has to be Guehi all day. Just a comment here as well. Just an observation, not knocking, but I just have a feeling Klopp would have got these new boys purring. This is a good debate. I disagree with you, North Red. My take in it is if you think about when Liverpool, it was a few seasons back. I think it was the 2022 season. Yeah, it was the year after. No, was it 2022? Maybe, yeah, the year
we fell over a bit and bought Darwin Núñez.
Yeah. But remember, it was the season that we moved Trent into midfield to help us like defensively. And we were struggling. I think in January, we had went 6 games away from home. Or no, 6 games. No, 6 games away from home. 6 defeats. And that was like, everyone was going ballistic. We were just so easy to play against. I remember Burnley as well beat us at home that season. And it took him and that was with the players that he had. So he knew them inside out. And it took him until March that season to figure it out. And then we went on a run then and we were able to, I think we ended up finishing third. So I don't know if maybe Klopp might have got more out of these teams. It's very hard to know. But I think I get really frustrated when people talk about Slot and they're like, oh, it was Klopp's team and stuff. I was like, Klopp didn't win a Premier League with this team. Do you know what I mean? He had the opportunity and then he ran them into the ground and going into the end of that season, and we obviously just couldn't get it over the line. So he didn't manage them in the same way to get them to win a Premier League. Yes, he had some of the squad there, but in the end, it was still Slot that got the best ever numbers out of Diaz, that put Gravenberch into the 6, and got Salah had his best ever season. So I think people undermine Slot a little bit when they say Klopp would have done better with the current crop of players.
I don't know. I probably side with the comment more, more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably do, just for the sheer fact of that I am one in the camp of pre-season was really telling for me this year because I had the opportunity to go pre-season and actually watch from the press area. And watching from that angle of the pitch, you could tell from the minute the ball was kicked that the shape was so much different. And I was sat there thinking, why have we changed this so much after we've just won the league? And it was exciting. It was brilliant. It was excellent to watch. But I was like, wow, this is vastly different to how we were playing 12 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And I feel like the season we've won the league, the season just gone, we were excellent. But essentially all that changed within the side was the mileage. And it was just essentially, mate, if we're 2-0 up, we don't need to win 6-0. Keep something in the tank, lads. Don't run yourself to the ground. And I think you're perfect on your point there of saying Klopp did run the lads into the ground because he did. He wanted to go out and put a statement in and win games 6-7-0. If we're winning 2-0 under Arnie Slot, he's happy to pass the ball and keep hold of it and run
kill the game.
Around. Kill the game. Don't get anyone injured. Don't burn yourselves out. And that's the way modern football's going and the way it's going to be played now. But when I went in pre-season, I sat there and watched it from that view of the pitch, just the positions people are occupying, the amount of long balls being played, sort of not playing for any more knockdowns anymore. I just thought, wow, this is vastly different. And I think we've seen that, and that's why he's reverted back so much. And I just think if you put these players into a Klopp system, like how he basically has now, he's gone back to the 4-3-3. I think we would have been better from the outset. Yes, the mileage would have still been a concern, but I do think he would have integrated them a little bit quicker than how Slot has.
Do you think Trent would have stayed if Klopp had stayed?
No, I reckon Trent was always going to go. Yeah.
No? Yeah. All right, fair. I was trying to test you there. No, yeah. I don't know. I'm more the case of looking forward. What people think of as well, they think of early stage Klopp when they say that. You need to remember the kind of mindset he was in at that stage when he had obviously taken Liverpool as far as he could in his head, and he was tired. Yeah. He didn't know if he had the energy to go on, and that feeling still would have been hanging with him going into the following season if he had stayed. And then say going into this season, it would have been maybe even more difficult. So people just assume that he would be able to, and people are now, well, he looks so much better, and then they'll come back. And I don't know. I just think his legacy is perfect at Liverpool in my mind. I think he's taken us from a team that were in the doldrums of nearly we were finishing 7th and 8th when he came in. You know what I mean? And then he takes us to the highs of winning a Premier League for the first time in 30 years and a Champions League. And if he comes back in and it doesn't work, then they're people, especially you get rival fans, they're oh, well, he can't do it twice in a row. Do you mean? Or whatever it is. I just think he had what he had was perfect for that moment in time. But now it's about maybe similar to the Liverpool team. It's about kind of developing and evolving to maybe a new style. And that's something that will take a little bit of time and a little bit of change. Drover says, I hear you, but I don't want Slots gone. I don't know what Slots going to do next week. I would have been more confident Klopp would work out. Mind you, this season, referees would have pushed Klopp over the edge. They are shite. The referees were shite when Klopp was there as well. So remember the Diaz goal.
One the other week, remember when he elbowed Robbo? The ref,
yeah.
And he didn't even get a fine or not. Just full on elbowed him 6-12. Honestly,
stupid.
Mad.
Yeah, I suppose then we'll coming up to this weekend. So how are you feeling about this weekend? We'll talk maybe a little bit of Liverpool, and then we can talk about City away at Newcastle, North London derby. What are your thoughts?
Liverpool first, yeah. I think we win this weekend. I think you've got to take that Man City result as a bit of an anomaly.
Throw it away.
Listen, yeah, just throw it away. Man City are boss at the Etihad. Like, just forget about it. Before that, we had 2 great wins at home where we looked against Aston Villa, the better side, like a dominant side. We had a lot of the ball. We created a lot of chances. We looked really good. Against Real Madrid, the game before that, we defended as a unit. We worked together as a team. Yeah, we didn't have that much of the ball, but when we had it, we really did make it count. And we had 2 really strong home performances. I think we build on that and we get the win against Forest. All that worries me is the likes of Szoboszlai's played 180. Gyökeres has played 170 or something like that. Mac has played 90 the other night or near enough. Yeah. And he's coming back from Argentina. They're the qualms and the worries for me. How are we going to cope with that? The bonuses are Alisson Becker might be back in goal, and it looks like Alexander Isak might at least play half an hour. So you've got to take that. And also, Wirtz is coming back with 2 assists. Gakpo's coming back with a goal and an assist. And Ekitike's coming back with a goal. So if anything, the lads are firing, and now's the time for them to play.
You're kind of hoping they come back with a little bit of confidence more than anything else. But yeah, I think this week is huge just because the North London derby as well. And like Spurs, obviously away from home, are the best in the league. Like, they've beaten Man City away. Why can't they go to Arsenal if they're missing maybe Gabriel and Gyökeres and get a result? So if Liverpool win, and obviously Newcastle as well away for Man City, that's not going to be an easy game, even though they're playing poorly. They win in the early kickoff, or sorry, it's the 3 o'clock kickoff. If they win at 3 o'clock kickoff and they go, what is it? They'd be 5 points behind Arsenal then. Like, I think that just kind of sets you up nicely then for like the next few games that we have. And as you said, they have some other tough fixtures coming up. So it kind of just puts a little bit of pressure, a little bit of doubt in their heads. But yeah, I think, what do you think the lineup will be? Who do you think Liverpool will go with?
I think, well, I'm hoping Alisson Becker's fit, so I'm hoping Alisson Becker in goal. Then Ibu Kanate, Virgil van Dijk. I was going to listen. I'm still in the camp of Andy Robertson should be playing. However, with Scotland going through the other night and playing the whole game, admitting on camera that like he's been really emotional, and then seeing loads of pictures of all the Scotland lads out in the ale after the game, I've got a sneaky feeling me and Gyökeres might be playing.
Yeah.
So possibly, I would like Andy Robertson, but I think Gyökeres is going to be the one who plays. Right back, Conor Bradley. Obviously, there's no Frimpong there. Gravenberch the 6, Dom Szoboszlai, and then probably Curtis Jones, because as we've seen before, when Maka comes back from that long flight, he always seems to be a little bit sort of jet lagged, and it's sort of routine that Curtis Jones plays the first game back from international. It seems to happen quite a lot. And then this is where the hard conversations start, because is it Gakpo or is it Florian Wirtz? I would side that Forest at home under Sean Dyche, Florian Wirtz is your man who you're going to go for. There's going to be space for him to work in. If the game's going to become physical, it's going to become physical in their half. It's very unlikely it's going to be in our half, because they're likely going to sit back and play on the break. So I'll probably put Florian Wirtz in, because there's going to be a little bit more space for him to work, and you can introduce Gakpo on 60 if it's not working out. Second, well, then headed up by Ekitike and probably Mo Salah. So yeah,
you wouldn't start Isak.
No, what did he play for Sweden the other night? 28 minutes.
20 odd minutes, yeah.
Apparently that's because if he was booked, he was going to miss the next game.
Oh, so, the qualifier?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'd have to dive into the internet. I can't bother doing it now, but I'm pretty sure the manager said, who is the Swedish gaffer? It's someone we know, isn't it?
Is it?
Someone quite, it's someone quite, do you want, I'll have a quick look now. But I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of he could have played up to an hour.
Oh, Graham Potter.
Graham Potter, yeah. He could have played a lot longer.
Do you know what? I was watching the draw today, and I was like, what the fuck is Graham Potter doing in the ground?
He's the Sweden gaffer. But he said he could have played a lot longer. However, he was booked. He missed the qualifier because he's 1 yellow card away. So that's why he only played X amount of time, because I don't think he featured in the second game of international break at all. For that fact, if he got booked, that'd be it.
Yeah, but I think we're going to have a lot of games as well.
Yeah, you can't drop back a TK, man. Fella's been
boss. No, he played well against as well for France. His goal was unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I probably agree with you. I think Kirkhouse will start. I don't think Robertson after the week that he's had is going to be someone that will play. And yeah, I think that's probably the only likely change. Or yeah, I think that's probably the only likely change. But yeah, Jones. I don't know. Like, kind of. He could. Do you know what he could do? He could do Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Verts, Gakpo, Salah. Kind of go back to what he did at the start of the season because they're going to have so much of the ball and play Verts in the 10. That could be something that he does. But the thing is, I think when you play Verts, you lose like a lot of Szoboszlai because, as we were talking about earlier, he kind of starts that press. And I think if you,
sorry, go on.
Like, I think like we obviously talked about like Liverpool not being able to deal with long balls so far this season. Like that's what Forest are going to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, do we need Szoboszlai pressing, or do we want to maybe a little bit lower back where he can kind of cover a lot of ground defensively, and then just deal with the long balls? Like, because I think the one thing I think with the long balls thing is teams go long against us, and we're not like winning the second balls. So what they do is they go long, get crowded around, like say the striker. Like that would probably be what Morgan Gibbs White will then be like feeding off maybe.
He's been playing Wood, hasn't he? But it's either Wood or Igor Jesus. It's one of the two.
Yeah. So like it'll be like then that you're gonna have to deal with, and like just winning the duels, which I think Szoboszlai would probably be better at in that position.
My problem is, I think if you put Verts out on the left, I think he's got space to create. I think if you put him in the middle of the park, he drowns. Like, because they're going to play that sort of, essentially just going to play 4-5-1, win a low block, try and go on the break longs of Chris Wood. I think if you put him in that 10, unless you give him a lot of freedom to move and be creative with the shape, I think he just gets drowned. Like, I also think the fella's great on the ball, but he's a shithouse, man. I haven't seen him put in one good tackle all season.
It's just not. The thing is that you see all the stats, like he covers all this amount of ground and all the good numbers and stuff. But I think he's a different type of player. I remember doing a video. I compared him to Ozil. Like he's someone that's constantly moving and looking for the ball, so he covers like a lot of distance. But he's not someone that's like say you look at Szoboszlai, he covers a lot of ground, but he do it in very different ways. Like he's very aggressive on the front foot, like trying to make challenges. I don't feel like that's Verts. He's like more off the ball, like kind of constantly looking for it, and that's why his numbers go up in that instance. But yeah, like I think that's something that if he is to be a success in the Premier League, is something that he definitely has to contend with. And no, I wouldn't even say making the difficult challenges himself, but like being able to brush them off a little bit better would be important. And then we might see a little bit more of them because like teams will just, if they feel like they can get at you physically, then that's what they'll do. It's like what teams are doing against Liverpool this season. They're getting at us physically, and then they're just going to continue to do it because they know it's a weakness. So they know it's a weakness in Verts, but they continue to do it to Verts. We'll do score prediction then. If you're new to the channel as well, make sure to drop a like. Go over and check Luke's channel out. I'll be collabing on it as well with you, Luke. After
man. I think I'm like 11 or 12 subs away from a K. So
there you go. 11 or 12 subs away. Go over and get him up to it.
So I think Liverpool today. You want to be Forest. Forest is the only home game he lost last season. He's not a man for blowing teams out the water, but I think this one's 3-0. I think
3-0.
Yeah, I don't reckon that's too crazy of a shout either. 3-0. Bear in mind, Forest are going to play midweek as well, and like they need to start winning in that Europa League.
Yeah,
results, haven't they?
I'm gonna say the thing is, if they score first, I feel like we're gonna be like in for a fucking like nightmare game. I'm gonna say 2-0. I'm gonna say 2-0. I think it will be a little bit more solid. I think we'll be just a little bit more cautious after the international break. We might be like slow to get into the game, and then hopefully get the first goal, and then just kind of pick them off if they're trying to go forward. So I'm going to say 2-0.
I just think when we played City the other week and everyone was saying Slot, he did the double over Guardiola. Guardiola's been restless finding out how to beat Arne Slot. That's how Arne Slot feels about Nottingham Forest. There's a period in time last season when he just never stopped going on about it. I reckon he's got this one.
Yeah. Right. And then North London Derby and then City away at Newcastle. What are you thinking?
North London Derby. I loved you getting me up for it before speaking about it, but when I looked at the numbers earlier, Spurs haven't won at Arsenal for 15 years.
Yeah, well, they might not win, but they got a draw. That's all right. That's Frank's 2 draw points.
Thomas Frank's 1 win, 2 draws, 6 losses against Arsenal. I know you've said Tottenham have been good away from home, and that City performance does come to mind.
The best in the league. They've been not just good away from home, the best in the league away from home.
I know, but I don't know. I can't see it happening.
I'd say Arsenal more likely to win if they were playing away.
yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for the draw. So I'll say 1-1 draw. 1-1. What was the City results on Arsenal 1-1? 2-2.
Yeah, the Arsenal City result was 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1. We'll go for that then. 1-1.
Yeah, I think I'm 1-1 as well. I think 2-2 might be a little bit if it gets a little bit feisty, but I don't know. I think Thomas Frank might do a job.
They're good on the break, aren't they, Tottenham? We've seen that at the Etihad. They're good on the break.
Yeah. And like when they're not expected to like be the aggressor, do you know what I mean? They do better with that because they get a little bit more space. They can get the ball forward quicker. Whereas I think they struggle against the weaker teams because they're expected to get on the ball and play through the lines. And then City and Newcastle away. So obviously, I know Newcastle aren't performing, but like it's still a tough place to go.
Yeah, it's mad. So I was looking at Newcastle earlier as well, and sort of you look at Newcastle are in the table and you think bloody hell they've been crap then, but I think they've sort of just been like underperforming away from home. Like they've just struggled to get results away from home. Actually, at home, even in Europe, they've actually been really good. And the only 3 games they've lost are Barcelona, Liverpool in the last minute, and I'm pretty sure the other one's Arsenal. So they're actually not doing all that bad, to be honest. So they definitely could get a result there. What kickoff time is that? Because that's really going to alter.
It's the
half. Is that the late kickoff?
5:30. I don't know if it's not a way to do the Saturday night now.
Let me have a quick look now. I'll tell you what, if it is 5:30, I think
it is 5:30. It is
5:30. I'll go Newcastle 2-1 just because 5:30. It's going to be absolutely freezing cold. The atmosphere there is going to be up for it. It's going to be dark as well. St. James's, I've been many a time. It is a nasty place when it's dark. So yeah, I'll go
under the lights.
Oh, God, I'm going 2 upsets. I'm going a draw and a Newcastle 2-1 win.
So you're saying the title race is back on?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's back on. This is the week for it, and it's both of them have got tough games.
Yeah, if Arsenal and City come through this week, I think that's kind of curtains for Liverpool in terms of the title race. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Do you know what? I'm gonna go 1-1 as well. I think Newcastle are still struggling a little bit going forward. Well, no, I'm saying that they're okay going forward. I think they're just kind of a team that are struggling sometimes to get over the line. They're just like kind of on that precipice of like.
Well, that's what I focus on.
Just being better.
I've watched, I would agree with that statement. And then I looked at the numbers, like I said, and just thought, they're only really crap when they play away. When they play at home, they seem to be doing okay. So
yeah,
I would agree with you.
Yeah. Right. Lovely stuff. We'll wrap it up there then. Lads, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. As always, it's been a pleasure. Obviously, this is just a kind of a new thing me and Luke are doing. We're going to be live every week from about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Talking about like kind of everything that went on during the week, and then obviously building up to the games this week. I know we only had I think it was like 6 or 7 at most today, but we'll get a few more numbers up pretty quickly once we start getting moving on it. But enjoy the content. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Luke, thank you very much.
That's all good. Cheers for coming, guys.
Bye.